Let's first and foremost give a shout out over to TFR Live. Namaste. We are so glad that you are with us here today. Welcome, welcome. And a beautiful hello over to onenesstalkradio.com, where people are chatting, people are calling in, and people are watching. You can call us 517-208-1500 to get into the queue. There are plenty of people getting in that queue already. 517-208-1500. Shri and I always enjoy chatting with you and offering mini soul readings if your heart would call to that. And of course, today we are over at YouTube, Shri, right?
We're at YouTube. I just said hello in the chat room.
Hey, hey.
And we're also broadcasting to Facebook.
Which YouTube, honey?
Oneness Talk Radio.
All right. And the Oneness Talk Radio Facebook. So there we are, guys. We are here. We are ready. We are open and we are guided with so much now that we are in this radiance. You love our background. Those of you that are watching us, this beautiful radiance energy that is going to be the beautiful choice experience of February. I'm excited because it's
Absolutely.
a choice experience. Yeah.
I just checking. Hey, we're broadcasting everywhere perfectly. I
Yay!
love it when it works.
We love it when it works. Woohoo!
So, beloved ones, here we are, the 1st of February. We
Wow.
are, once again, we're launching into another quality of the energy that is roaring into 2020, because we began, as you may seemingly have forgotten, only 30 days ago.
You know, does that seem surreal? That's surreal. I mean, really, guys, isn't that surreal to you that because 2020, remember 2020, all of those energy flows of 2020, we are in a profound shift energy experience of the dragonfly. Remember, it's the dragonfly energy, this dancing dragonfly, that opened up the profound shift, the visionary transformation through timeline adaptation, and the mass awakening of self-ascension. This is an opportunity this year and next year, we've now discovered, where we are all being offered this up-level experience with conscious connection.
Now,
what a dance that is.
Well, and let the phraseology of that come through.
Yeah.
Because up-leveling with conscious connection is a little different than just being hyper.
Yes, it is.
It's a little different than just having energy. This is a lifting into your divine nature. This is an integration of spirit into form, and the form in union with spirit, because that is a two-way street.
Yeah.
You know, we've talked a little bit recently about the sacred union of the body with the spirit. Well, this is the two-way street. We all were spirit that went into form, and then we forgot about that. You know, the veil of forgetfulness seems to be a universal law when we take birth. And as we ascend back into our awakened self, we begin to also ascend into a new opportunity for divine partnership.
Now, really breathe that in, because along with that new opportunity comes multidimensional anchorship, mastery. You know, we are, let's really look at this. You know, let's just take a minute, because Shri and I, as you know, the first 15 minutes of all of our shows now are these weekly Ascension updates. And with this energy of February right now, today, just saying, here I am, let's just take a moment and just really look at this, kind of how we've laid this out. So now, here we are, only 30 days into this incredible year of experience. And I would say that we could all agree that the first 30 days of 2020 have been very rich with experience, right? And you know, remember, this is because January 1, 2020 opened up a trinity of experience. This is another rare kind of point of coming together with it, with being that January 2020 is an experience month. 2020 itself is an experience year, and the decade 2020 through 2029 is an experience decade. And that energy, because of this dragonfly ignition, right, has called forward an opportunity for divine healing. I mean, this is just one of those years that has intense energy. It is very, very expanded, because we are being invited into our expanded state. And February is our first choice month of the year. So there's going to be a lot of intensity, and it has this retrograde energy, the Ascension Uplevel. There's 2 Ascension Uplevels. There's just so much happening.
There is. And one of the things I just want to underscore is experience means we're taking action.
Right.
It's an active process because consciousness evolves with awareness, experience, and choice.
Yeah.
And we cycle through that, gaining in wisdom. But when we're in these periods of experience, it means we're involved.
Very.
And so what are you involved with? Are you paying attention?
Well, now that's really important, because are you paying attention goes back to, have you transitioned? Have you integrated the entire decade before us? Remember, right?
Yeah.
Because we are in an experience decade. What does that mean? Well, that means that, imagine what just happened. We just went from an awareness year to an experience year. And that was, we talked about how December 31 was kind of that time out of time and how that happened. Well, in the bigger momentum, and this one really matters. I think that's why we're talking so much about the decade ahead, because this time it really matters that we all are as aware as possible, which is why this massive awakening is so important. What is it, if you were to look at the entire decade of 2010 through 2019 as awareness, what are you aware of right now? And what are you willing to do about it? And this is so important that Sri and I just put out an entire video about this. All the 2 videos we just put out are very short. One of them is under 5, the other one is under 10 minutes. And so go watch them both. Go learn about this Ascension Uplevel, and go learn about the 3 things that this entire 2020 and the decade ahead that we all really need to know.
Yeah, because you've asked a beautiful question. And as we take an opportunity as conscious beings to simply pause and reflect.
Right.
What did I become aware of in the last 10 years?
Right.
What
really aware of? What do you know?
What has enriched your wisdom?
Exactly. That's a really important question, Sri. What has enriched your wisdom? Not, really go to this, expand yourself, right? Yeah. Expand as you go into that question.
Because if we are able to actually pause for a moment and become conscious of what we're conscious of,
illuminating the illumination,
there it is, then we ripen the gift. That is, the gifts become more juicy and available to feed your future choices and experiences. When we have a lifetime where, an animal, a dog, a pet learns things quasi-unconsciously through repetition and through reward and pain. Well, we all have that level of rather automatic functioning. But when we use our higher faculties and we're actually aware of that which we experienced, aware of that which we are aware of, be conscious of it, then we have the opportunity for a higher level of wisdom, a higher level of discernment, which is applied wisdom, and a more joyful life. So here we are. We are at a beautiful moment. We're coming in February 1. Well, February has a lot to do with the illumination energy.
Well, it's all about radiance, right? Everything has been made visible. And think about that everything is in this radiance energy, which is illuminating the illumination. And as you were just sharing so beautifully, what I'm loving about this is that, remember, January 25th was one of 3 peak Uplevel events for 2020. And all of this is in the video we just put out on the Uplevel calendar. Go watch it. So we just had one of our 3 peak Uplevel. We're going to be having Uplevel events every single month for the next 2 years. But what January 25th did was it opened up that illumination activation. And Sri, we want to show you guys the February calendar, because this is really important to understand. Now, this is actually from the 2020 Uplevel calendar that we just put out. And you'll notice that right next to February 2020, it says profound shift. Well, why is that? Because in the Ascension Energy flows of 2020, the month of February is one of those months of profound shift. So that dragonfly is going to be dancing with profound shift. The overarching spiritual experience is choice. So you are literally having, because it's an experience year, the experience of choice as choices are being set. And I was going to use the word remembered, and let me share with you why. As you're gazing at this calendar, the first thing you'll notice is what? Today, Saturday, the 1st of February, Mercury retrograde has gone into the pre-phase. Now, why is that important? I'm going to share that with you in just a moment, because I want you to pay attention to the fact that when does Mercury go into retrograde? It's on the 18th. Now, you see those two stars. February 9th, full moon will also be an ascension up-level moment, and we'll be talking a lot more about that next weekend on this show, because we're going to be together live on Sunday the 9th with this up-level. And then here's what I'm loving. It is the miracle of the 17. From the first of this Mercury retrograde pre-phase to when the Mercury actually begins, that is a message from the cosmic Essene. And if you go to the Lost Books of the Essene at TrianCara.com, read message 7, learn about the miracle of the 17. On the 18th, Shri, we will have the first Mercury retrograde in a 2-year cycle, where Mercury retrogrades are going to be actually part of this ascension up level energy. And so all of the phases count, and they are all about us remembering ourselves during that time.
It's a profound alignment.
I mean, really, the alignment is crazy. And if you look at when these up levels are, that's why the February 18 up level is so important, because it's happening on the moment the first big memory push comes in. Yeah, it's pretty exciting, guys.
And one of the things I appreciate very much, as Kira has built this beautiful calendar, is that these up-level moments are there to actually, as kind of an alert, pay attention.
Yeah.
When we have the calendar, and you can have this calendar with the whole year mapped out in front of you simply by visiting TrianCara.com and be so kind as to offer a donation to the Clinica Linda. However, we're going to be sharing it every month as we go along also.
And more importantly, watch the video, because it's important to understand why these up-level events matter. And where we're going with this is that in the moment that we are here with right now, the other thing to recognize about this illumination, right? This illuminating of the illumination is this is the invitation into the higher consciousness. This is an invitation that's saying, look, it's all going to be laid out in front of you. That's why it's feeling so intense. Things are being, there is no more hiding, right? Everything. And so when everything is illuminated, remember, it's about radiance. Well, what is radiating in your world right now? And does it feel like radiation, or does it feel like radiance? Because those are the energies. They are twins. They are beloved brother, sister, mother, father. They are it all, right? And so that radiance energy is turning up a big bright light on everything. And the blessing is that through that intensity, these ascension up level experiences are really an opportunity to it's like quantum.
One of the things is, I just take a breath.
Yeah, I know, really. No, it is. It's intense.
The refined discernments that are upon us are really important.
True.
The difference between the radiance and the radiation, the difference between feeling like something's beaming on me versus something's inviting or illuminating me. Yeah. That is a rather subtle discernment, a fine discernment that exposes to your consciousness your call it the thinner veils, the veils that would choose to be repelling, or the ones that are accepting, because we all have multiple tissue-like veils in our consciousness, and so it's just such a beautiful discernment. The radiance that invites illumination and illuminates the illumination versus the radiation that might cause one to recoil or resist.
As you're sharing that, Shri, I'm immediately, I'm getting this image of a microwave, which we do not own. We have not owned a microwave in a long time. But what happens to a beautiful piece of food when you put it into a microwave? It might be ready sooner, but it's dead. It might look like the same thing, but the energy has been taken away. Versus what happens when you cook something or not and appreciate it with a greater sense of energy. And so this is really a very good, things that I love, Archangel Zadkiel always talked about it. Some things grow better in shade and some things grow better in light. Everything right now is getting what it needs to grow. That radiance energy, this illumination of the illumination, so to speak, is growing. And so the key is that we talked a lot about this Thursday night on Soul Mirrors, and I do want to remind all of you that are Soul Mirrors fans, and thank you for tuning in and right here at TFR Live, that we are going to be very excited. The show has moved to Tuesday nights at 6 p.m. Pacific time, so we're going to be continuing this conversation this coming Tuesday night on TFR Live, Oneness Talk Radio, and all of the other affiliates on Soul Mirrors. And thank you for letting me share that, because we started an introduction of a conversation Thursday night about how this pillar of light, this radiance light energy, this dancing of these dragonflies. And you know what, Sri, let's put up the energy flows. For those of you that are watching, we're going to put up the energy flows. And if you're not watching, don't worry, we'll absolutely share with you what we're talking about. So for those of you that are looking at that, these are the energy flows of 2020. Now, if you remember all of the other energy flows I've put out over many of the other years, this is very unique. This year is just an amazingly unique year because it's a year of mastery experience in the energy of the dragonfly. And it is because of the energy of the dragonfly, and because it's literally the energy of the dragonfly dancing, that the dragonfly energy has called forth these energy flows. And they are profound shift, visionary transformation through timeline adaptation, and the awakening to self-ascension. One of the greatest mass awakenings that has ever happened on the planet has the opportunity to happen this year. And if you look at the profound shift energy,
you'll see those rectangles on the chart, because these months, January, February, September, are kind of like anchor points of an energy, and similarly July, August, and December. As anchor points of energy, the profound shift quality is really creating bookends for this year that then embrace the center part of the year for the visionary transformation. Because we are in a year of mastery experience, and each month contributes a quality that will support the awakening, which is the entire year.
Yeah, it really is. And really the reason being is that I just want to put up another graphic here, that we are in a year where more than ever, we are being invited to open the mind, and you can call this in any way you want. Open my mind, open the mind, open your mind.
Yeah.
And somewhere in the subtle distance, you'll hear the I am here. Because in order to open your mind, this is, you'll notice even how we layered the two here. This is very much about training yourself, adapting, right? Visionary transformation through timeline adaptation. This is through actually training yourself. And you can train yourself in the linear world of illusion, how to be in multidimensional space. And that's what this graphic and this is all about. Open your mind. I am here. Expand your vision.
I am ready.
Ignite your heart.
I am open.
Heal the world.
Guide me.
Feel that, my angels. Really, really feel that. Because that is the energy of the self-ascended presence. That is the energy that trusts that which is within, that cannot be denied. And in the radiance of February, in the illuminating of the illumination, in the visibility, we have hit a decade. Remember, this isn't just for this year. We have hit a decade that is all about extreme abundance and roaring flow. And Sri and I want to be clear about the extreme abundance. Many people immediately think wealth, money, excess. Yes, that is absolutely
That's one
part
quality
of it.
Of abundance.
We are talking extreme abundance, meaning that imagine an extreme abundance of beings awakening. Imagine an extreme abundance of our collective voice being heard. Imagine the extreme abundance of positivity and reclamation through the remembrance of who we are. That's what's happening beginning this month. And that's why the radiance energy is here. Remember that the Mercury retrograde energy is playing a big role, a huge role in this ascension up-level experience. It's almost like it's the transmitter. It's almost like we get it as far as Mercury, and then Mercury goes retrograde and goes, here it is, guys. It's kind of like putting all the tumblers in place. And so it really is, for 2 years, retrogrades that every one of them are opening up a greater window of alignment to kind of find your own portal.
Retrograde energy experienced through the vibration of density becomes kind of this classic, I've got to redo things. There's a repeat. Retrograde.
There's also a fear.
Well,
it inspires a lot of fear and doubt.
Retrograde energy, when experienced in the more ascended state, is a re-upping, a re-invitation, a reminder.
Yeah.
And it doesn't necessarily interfere with your flow. It does cause a moment of re-upping or recommitting to your flow.
And this is why this month is so special, is that we have our first Mercury retrograde of the year, number one. Number two, we have the first illuminated new moon within our first Mercury retrograde. And so remember that these illuminated new moons came forward with the January 10 eclipse. And this is why all the eclipses are on the calendar as well, because now that we are in February and we have our first illuminated new moon, meaning that the new moon energy for the next 2 years, for those that choose this dance that's happening, you're walking into the void, but it's illuminated. You get to see what's there. Now, what that also means is whatever you're afraid of is going to be right in front of you, because the void, isn't it about making your way through the void? And some people like to put on a blindfold and just say, let me run, right? But the key is that when we can be in the void, wide awake with everything out in the open, fear dissolves. We realize that what we were afraid of most times wasn't even close to real, much less a true threat. We tend to create our own limitation. And so this is a moment of freedom. This is a moment to release limitation and to walk through. So that 23rd new moon, illuminated new moon in February, is also very, very important. And so we have 2 up-level events that are happening with the miracle of the 17 that are offering us a rich opportunity to reclaim. I mean, wow.
It's
right?
Very profound.
It's a wow moment.
And oftentimes with all of the information and opportunity that is flowing, it's kind of like, well, I need to grab a little piece of this and really get it and really understand it, because
so true.
There's so much going on. And even this understanding of the void, some people equate the void to like the dark night.
Right.
I'm frightened.
And it can be that.
Well, they can coincide.
Yeah.
But the void is not absent of light. The void is ready for creation.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the moment of birthing energy. And what are you birthing? Is it doubt and fear? Or are you birthing? Are you going to paint that canvas with your grand vision of your soul's mission, or what's going on? So the void is really an instant. But do we expand it and dwell there, or do we just recognize, I'm creating? Let's go.
Exactly. I have to jump in, because that's it. It's the recognition of the co-creative experience of being in the void. And this is why being in the void illuminated. Exactly. Do you get it, guys? It's the divine, exquisite alchemy. And it's really, it's so funny. Every time you say that, I'm like, I feel Saint Germain just laughing and going, go for it. Yes, talk about this. Because when we are in the moment of our own alchemical awareness, right? Because remember, let's not forget, we are in a year of experience in a month of choice, which means we are experiencing choice. And so that is a rich moment, the moment where we can say yes to the alchemical presence of the who, quote, that we are, and relax ever more into this visionary transformation through timeline adaptation. And what I have noticed through that, Shri, is that gives us the opportunity to then lift again and see it where even less questions arise, because we understand more the less we seek to get the answer.
Well, there's another powerful paradox, isn't it? We begin, once we understand more, we aren't seeking as much. and the fulfillment just keeps coming. It doesn't mean the process of informing oneself stops. It
No, it
means
escalates.
it means there is a trust in the flow of that versus the need to control it through questions and answers.
Right.
And I'm actually, you had me back at visionary transformation.
I'm so glad.
Because the phrase that we have been offering to you, visionary timeline adaptation,
visionary transformation through timeline adaptation.
Okay, let's take that in.
That's from the divine directors.
There's two really critical pieces in there.
Yeah, there are.
And as we accept transformation with a visionary quality, we're back at what is February. It is this radiance that is illuminating the illumination. There's your visionary up level right there, this entire month. Timeline adaptation. Well, how about just taking that in as I am a creator being?
Well, Shri, not only taking that in, but guys, I want to pop up again the energy flows really quick, because as you're saying that, all right, guys, if you're looking at the energy flow, and if you're not, let me share with you what you're looking at. There are two squares that represent profound shift.
Right.
And so we've already established that January, February, September, and then on the other end, July, August, and December are the bookends. These months are the months that absolutely the what happens in these months, these 6 months really are the bookends, okay? However, this visionary transformation through timeline adaptation is already happening if you are lifted into the 5th dimension or above. And that's what this graphic is showing. It looks like almost a pyramid rising from these two squares. And you notice that it rises up to the heart of this dragonfly. Well, when you give yourself the gift, imagine you're floating over this right now. Look at the heart of the dragonfly as it soars upward. Follow the energy of this, not looking out in a linear field, but closing your eyes, gazing up and seeing it from above. And what you will know and recognize right now, and especially in February with the radiance, is that we are already transforming. We are already adapting.
Yes.
And the awakening, the massive awakening, which is why you see that circle there, is already happening. And that's why these Ascension Uplevel experiences are so important. You know what? I'm just going to show you the February calendar again really quick, because we have 2 in February. Remember, not every month has an Uplevel. Every month has an Uplevel event, but not every month has 2. February not only has 2 Uplevel events, but they are on the 9th and 18th. It's the 9 and the 9, which is the 18, which is the 9. I mean, this is just screaming to us. Number 9. It's screaming to us. And today, the pre-phase Mercury begins on the 18th, the up level and the actual retrograde go into its profound, beautiful awakened process. And on the 23rd, which is the 5, which is the number of eternal presence, it's a beautiful experience. It's Lord Shiva. It's all of that. We have our first illuminated new moon within the energy of a retrograde. And so this is, I mean, there's your profound shift. It's not too hard to see why this is a month that's carrying that profound shift energy flow.
But sometimes my metaphors, I reveal the fact that I lived on the ocean for a long time.
He did. He single-handed it.
And I lived on boats, and I'm reminded of tide charts, because the metaphor for me is when we're going to launch out into the ocean, it's really helpful to know which way the tide's flowing. Am I being supported in my launch, or am I kind of swimming upstream, so to speak, if the tide's going the other way? And this calendar is so useful that way. It kind of gives you a flow of the rising tide and then the stability pieces within a month, or a year for that matter, of
intensity. And
upliftment.
Really, really big upliftment. And so my heart smiles, because we are all loved so much that this 2-year slide, so to speak it. So let's remember that and I want to say hello to all of you at TFR Live. Welcome back. We're glad you're with us. So we were talking about the 2-year slide. Let's remember that 2015 through 2022 opened up the ascension escalator to mastery expansion, to the ascension. And so we have been on this beautiful, it's like, imagine you're in this big spiritual department store and you're just holding on, right? 2022 ascension level, right? We're just all on the escalator checking out all the floors as we've been going up. Well, we're almost at the top now. As a matter of fact, looking back can feel kind of scary. And so we need to stay focused straight ahead. But as we're coming up, we've just noticed that we've gone from like economy to first class. Like all of a sudden there was this glass ceiling that we all just lifted through because we've been embraced by 2020 through 2029 in a way that was not happening up until about 18 months ago. This energy just shifted. And this had a lot to do with the lineage holder awakening and all of those that are awakening into the absolute clarity, truth beyond doubt, knowing that we are running through timelines, that we can command how this energy flows, that we are not helpless to the energy that is around us, and that the safety net, the protection energy, is that this form of ascended energy process can simply not ignite unless you have already said yes to a higher level of consciousness that carries the energy of balance and non-judgment. And so I bow before this moment, Sri. It really is, beloved angels, we are one voice standing on the front line with unlimited expressions. A moment of true dancing with the dragonfly. I mean, you want to talk about profound shift.
Absolutely. Let's all take a breath together because it is indeed an energizing energy. It is indeed an illuminating energy.
Oh, yeah.
And, the shift that is upon all of us, one of the things that I always chuckle at is sometimes we don't realize what we've said yes to.
Often.
And so I'm sure there's many of you, and you can identify yourselves in the chat room if you want to.
My hand's the first one up.
They're going, holy shit, what did I sign up for?
Spirit will always keep you on a need-to-know basis.
And I am always talking about let's be more conscious, let's pay attention to what's really happening. But behind that is the reality that you set a sacred intention much earlier that said, I'm going to ascend. I'm going to go through this. I am going to come back to my true self-ascension.
I am committed.
And then the rest of you that had to go through the veil and all of that is going, what did I sign up for? What's happening?
That's so true.
And there comes
frequently, right?
There comes a point in the journey where it just becomes a chuckle, where it becomes amusing.
That's when you know you're growing. That's when you know, when no matter what is thrown at you that tries to stop you, your heart is able to see the dancing dragonfly of delight in that energy experience.
Yeah. And I love, these images and energies are gifted. The recognition of them is gifted to us through Kira's connection and deep alignment with the ascended ones that we call the divine directors, also known as Great White Brotherhood in other traditions or knowings. And here's the thing, when they talked about dragonfly energy, I first saw that and I went, what a worldly image. And then there was the smile and the aha. Well, of course, that's the language of our expression.
Right.
We have to use the language that is familiar to us, yet words alone don't do it. Images, symbols, and poetry are far closer to communicating the essence. And as you look up on screen right now, for those of you that are on the video transmission, and look at that beautiful dragonfly illuminated and lifting, and begin to connect to the energy of a
freedom,
of a winged flying intelligence that can hover over the existing state of consciousness, that is a body of water, that can just hover over it and ignite the vapors, ignite the upliftment, and just tickle consciousness to say, there is more, there is more, there is more.
And are you tired or inspired? We did a whole show about that. This is a moment of extraordinary inspiration. And it is also a moment where the energy that will do everything in its power to stop that is being gifted with its radiance as well. Remember, is it radiance or is it radiation?
Ooh,
How is it leaving you feeling? What are you willing to see and what are you willing to do with it? And you know, Shri, we have all these people that have been holding for so long, 517-208-1500. I thought we should go over and say hello to some of these beautiful callers.
I'm going to say hi into the chat room.
All right. And we actually have a hand up over here in Atlantic City, New Jersey. So I think we need to go to Atlantic City, New Jersey. Let's see. There we are. Namaste, Atlantic City. Welcome.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Sri Lanka, Kira, blessings. Happy 2020. This is Denise. It's so funny. I talked to you almost the same time last year.
Oh, wow.
Like it was Super Bowl Sunday, I think, when I talked to you last time.
Wow.
I'm just getting in a secure spot here because I was driving listening.
Oh, thank you.
Well, thank you for being safe.
We appreciate you being safe. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you for a mini soul reading.
I want you to take in a deep breath.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, as interesting, as you were asking me for the mini soul reading, right after you said, I want to ask you for a mini soul reading, I heard a whole other sentence come in. And what's interesting is it came in from your higher self through your subconscious and forward to me, and it's requesting to be shared out loud. And so I'm going to just share it out loud. And here's what's being said. I just want to request a mini soul reading because my heart is ready to fly. And I know that this is true. And within me is one who is trying to say no when I know I am ready to say yes. And this whole big group, and this whole big group has come in around you and they're all gazing at you and they're saying, we have you. You will not fall. And so thank you, my love. Thank you.
Oh, that makes me feel like the dragonfly.
I agree. And my whole heart, like, do you feel you feel the energy in your heart? It's like this big, robust saying, I am here and this is happening. And so I am so great-filled on February 1 in this incredible radiant energy that you were our first caller, bringing us such radiance. Thank you for the gift of you.
Woo! That was great.
Namaste.
I think I am ready to fly, yes. And I'm keep praying for my correct path and direction so that I make those clear, right choices.
And so it is.
And so it is.
Just look straight ahead, sweetheart. It's right there. We love you, honey. I'm so glad that we had this annual hookup. I love it. Thank you, honey. Many blessings. Namaste.
To you both.
And to you, sweetheart. Namaste. Well, you know, Shri, I just want to share with everyone that I also want to give a shout out. You know, this morning was our monthly Mastery Mentorship Miracle Gathering and Ceremony. And wow, you know, if you don't know what that was, please download our app. It's called Spiritual Mastery with Shri and Kira. Android, Apple, iPad, phones, whatever you want, all devices worldwide. And join the Mastery Mentorship team. You know, this is a group of people that have said, I am worth it. You know, this moment, this community, this connection, this miracle presence is worth it. And I just want to share with all of you that are connecting with us, that were there with us this morning, whether you were there with us in spirit or there with us live, that I know I'm still basking in the energy of that ceremony. I have still not heard. I understand an ensoulment came through this morning from the divine director. Shri has been assisting me actually to get ready to be able to do this radio show ever since. But I did want to, in the energy of Denise's reading and what I was feeling in my heart, share with all of you, number one, our gratitude for being there this morning. And number two, to all of you, what are you willing to do this year? Check out the app, become a Mastery Mentorship member, support yourself, say yes to you. I really, I just, my heart really feels called to say that. And you know, one of the great things about being a Mastery Mentorship member is you get all kinds of discounts on everything else, like our classes.
Which is coming right up this Monday.
You know, talk about the joy of you. You know, this Monday, guys, one of the miracles that came forward was when Shri and I left Bhutan early and had all that extra time in India, was when all of the, I don't want to use the word pressure, but it almost felt like pressure from the Ascended Masters was like, if not now, when, and if not you, who, to reveal the keys of ascension inside the Bhagavad Gita and how you can discover your keys of ascension as well. Yeah. And I am excited and honored. And so many of you are going to be joining us on this 9-week journey. And if you have not registered yet, please, please do. I would love you to join us.
Well, and I just want to mention that if you go to shriankira.com, you'll find the Keys to Ascension, the Ascended Bhagavad Gita.
Right on the homepage.
It's 9 weeks of support, 9 weeks of inspiration, 9 weeks of wisdom. And it's a beautiful way to support yourself and to expand your context for what are we all doing here? You know, so, you know, the perennial questions of why am I here? What's my mission? And how does this all work are always kind of ever being refined. Yeah. And it's a beautiful thing when we can gather as a spiritual community and explore timeless wisdom.
You know, the perennial philosophies are perennial and they are at the root of all essence of spiritual tradition. And so together, I will explain how the perennial philosophies were really laid out inside of the Gita and how these keys to ascension have been sitting there waiting for each of us to unlock within ourselves. And so, yeah, please come join us. It's a 9-week journey. It's going to be really something very special. And it starts Monday, and you do need a specific book. So get registered, go to shriankira.com and come join us, because you can grab it on Kindle if you want. And it's cheap. It's really inexpensive. I picked the least dogmatic, cleanest, just transcription from the Sanskrit into English for this course, so that it's an opportunity to really let the love rise through. So thank you, Shri, for letting me share that.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
really do appreciate it very, very much, especially in this moment of illumination. And I do want to also remind all of you that this is a 2-part. You got to be with us tomorrow because we're going to be talking more about the 3 things that you really need to know about 2020, and also about this extreme abundance and roaring flow and how to be navigating that. And you know, with this rising radiance that's coming in February, it is important to look at what we've been laughingly calling the roaring 20s. And the reason we are referring to this decade as the roaring 20s is because of that extreme abundance and roaring flow. There's going to be a lot of shift, a lot of profound shift.
Yeah. And you're going to witness evidences of that shift in the outer world at every level of consciousness. So take a deep breath.
Okay. I think we need to connect more with these beautiful people. Well, all right, Shri, where are we going? Are we going to Canada?
Looks like we're
all
going
right,
to
we're
Canada.
going to, it looks like maybe Calgary, Canada. Namaste, Canada. Welcome.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, namaste. Welcome.
How are you guys doing today?
We're doing great, sweetheart. Thanks for joining us.
I was just calling in to hopefully get a mini solar reading today.
Yes, you were. And yes, you are. And we are here now. And so, beloved one, the first thing I want to invite you to do, if it's safe to do so, is to put a hand at your 5th chakra, right here at your throat, and then take your other hand and put it at your 3rd chakra, and just relax and allow literally feel the breath. Bring it in through the nose and feel it coming down through the 3rd like a waterfall of light and energy, and really bring it all the way down to that 3rd and then back up. And as it's coming back up, bring the hand back up to the 5th, and on the exhale, release the hands. And the reason that is being offered to you is Archangel Metatron is like right behind you, and he's standing inside of what looks like a Metatron's cube, but it's very, very thinly outlined. And I'm seeing all of this sacred geometrical form, and he's stepping out, and he is the one doing this. And the breath is like going in and out and around. And the message that's coming in is, first, you must clear that which has been congesting you before you can propel forward with that which is illuminating you. Clear your mind and focus clearly. Deep within, the answer lies. And as you say, yes, I am here. And I'm watching you kind of like step up out of yourself. There's like the human you that's kind of sitting here like this, you know, and it's like, you know, come on, tell me what's this, what's that. And I'm watching you literally stand up out of yourself, turn around, and you're walking into Metatron's cube. And what I'm hearing is that study the cube, remember the truth, and don't be afraid. And so it is. Thank you. You are a powerful being, and I am grateful you are here today. Many blessings, my love.
Thank you so much.
Namaste.
Thank you. Namaste.
Wow, you know, that was truly a powerful message for...
I'm trying to, I think we're all in the cube. You know, and that message was for everybody. You know, that message, guys, was for everybody. And you know, that's one of the things, wow. And I'm feeling a pain in my heart right now. So I'm just kind of reaching out to all of you because I'm feeling such a strong connection in the community right now through these readings. And I'm feeling a lot of heart pain, Shri, physical heart pain. So guys, just really love. You know, the February Radiance is a moment of loving yourself. Love yourself so much. You know, just be that energy. Dance that you are here now. Remember this whole dragonfly, right? And you see this beautiful spiraling illuminated dragonfly energy. It's a dance.
Yes.
Right? It's a dance. And so dance, my beloved ones, dance. And remember that you know how. And what that means is, where are your dreams? Dance with your dreams. Dance with your reverse aging. Dance with your body. The sacred union of the body and the soul. You know, they talk about this in the Gita. It's one of the codes to ascension I'm going to be revealing, is this sacred union energy that's all woven within there. And we are at this moment of ascended opportunity that has not been on the planet before. And so you are in a rich moment right now, where the body is willing to say yes to the soul. And it takes us back to being prepared for these Ascension Uplevel events all year long and not resisting them.
Right.
You know, it's not like being on a roller coaster going, oh my God, I'm going uphill. I know it's coming. I know it's coming. I know it's coming. No, this is about putting on your wings of freedom, flying with the rest of us who are flying and going, wow, how blessed are we? And look, here comes another Uplevel moment. Let's go. Versus hold on, because both of those energies are going to be showing up every month for 2 years. I mean, I can't stress enough what's happening here. And so it's extreme abundance. It's roaring flow. I mean, it's one of those flows where it's like, okay, it's time to dive in and be the flow. Otherwise, you're looking behind you going, I think that's a tsunami and I don't have any high ground.
You know, one of the things that I'm still processing through this wonderful visitation we had and reading that just came through. And I wanted to, you know, invite you all to, once the show is finished uploading, you could go replay this. There was a
attunement.
There was a moment there where we were invited to be present to the congestions we're carrying so that we can be more fully present to the illumination.
Wow, yeah.
And there, in just a few words with the transmission of energy that came with it, is a reminder that we all, in order to grow, we must cultivate a little bit of humility, a little bit of surrender, and a little bit of recognition that we have created some, call it baggage along the way, that we have taken in some wounds or some misunderstandings.
Absolutely, that's part of it, right?
And in order to lift and to keep lifting, it's an ever rarefying process, and healing becomes easier and easier. The more we lift, it's just simply a matter of bringing consciousness to that which is congested. And in the consciousness, true consciousness is always loving. True consciousness from an ascended state is full of compassion and saying, oh, look at this.
And I want to make sure that you're not misinterpreting the word true. Because what Shri is experiencing is mastery consciousness. Mastery consciousness it's undeniable. And that is it's the energy of undeniability. It's a resonance that's so clean and so clear that doubt does not even factor in, that it's way out in the distance, like, oh yeah, I used to play with that. Oh yeah, I remember playing with that energy when I was fully aligned in that world. And the moment we're in right now, what these ascension up levels are offering us is that gift of visionary transformation through timeline adaptation, where with every up level event, we have that broader compassionate view. That's how we anchor in the fifth dimension as our minimum space. That's when we're able to fully begin to be experiencing ourselves as we're witnessing ourselves through all of the open dimensional connections. And we're going to be talking a lot more about this tomorrow, how this is happening. I will share with you guys the first time it happened with me, Shri came in and found me just sitting there going, okay, I'm in one of those moments again. And it was profoundly extraordinary. And I'm grateful that I had Shri. And that's why we have this community, because we know what it's like. Before Shri and I met each other, we didn't have anybody else to talk about this with or anybody who could really understand it. You found this show, you found Shri and Kira because you are a master in an ascended process, because you are part of the gift of assisting those as many beings to discover themselves through your presence than has ever happened before. And so in that knowing, in that space where doubt cannot exist, in that undeniable consciousness experience, that is how our one voice with unlimited expressions begins to really be heard and have an effect that will help heal the world.
Absolutely, because healing the world is the natural consequence or outcome from sustaining a state of purity, a state of compassionate beingness.
Yeah.
You know, so often we are trained, because we evolved through density, where things are a little upside down in many regards.
At times.
We're trained to confuse the symptom with the cause.
Yeah.
You know, the indicator with the goal. You know, many people want money. And when I ask them, why do you want money? So that I can do or be A, B, and C. So what you really want is A, B, and C, and you believe that money is the way to get there.
So you have it upside down. So that's what's so brilliant about the whole illusion, right? Is that because think of an old-fashioned TV, right? Those of us that remember old-fashioned TVs, the signal came in upside down, and the TV converted it into what was considered right side up because of the way we are perceiving it.
Yep.
That is exactly how consciousness is. That is exactly how the consciousness is working right now. And so there are quite a few areas that are literally upside down to where others it's right side up. This is the epitome of density sanity and ascended sanity. The gift is that once we break free, we see it, and thereby no longer have the need to change it, because it ignites the ultimate forgive them, they know not what they do, and the ignition of the recognition that each being's journey is happening exactly as it is supposed to be happening. And when we can really honor that and live it and accept it, that's when our life excels.
Yeah.
And everything you need to support you shows up when you let go of wanting to control how it shows up. Doesn't mean you stop being active. Quite the opposite. It means that you're acting with the essence of the eternal co-creation as your guide.
That's pretty profound. That's pretty. I just say,
thank you.
I'm
Divine directors.
I'm constantly taking in and saying, okay, I need to process some elements of this, because there are, for me, one of my delights is being able to really say, oh yeah, there's a truth nugget. Here's another truth nugget. And to be able to delight in that, because the paradoxes of our growth, well, let's just say, because we have a legacy of experience, and that legacy of experience includes so many density beliefs that we have, we're finished with, we've outgrown. Yet our consciousness is layered into, in the most simple fashion, the conscious and the subconscious mind.
Yeah.
Well, what's in your subconscious, let alone what's in your shadow? That's a different aspect of the subconscious.
Important.
And so we begin to see the interplay of this content that we have inside of us interacting with the co-creative content that's outside of us, and this forgive them, they know not what they do, it really needs to come inward very frequently. I forgive myself.
Yes.
Because it's just being revealed to my awareness that I wasn't aware of this before.
Can you let that illuminate the illumination?
Exactly. So the illumination is one of, I am in a cleansing, a purification process. I am transmuting, transcending, and beaming.
Yes.
And that each and every one of us, as we go through our life, we're in this delicate dance between the inner world becoming ever more full of loving compassion, and radiating that out into the outer world, ever more actively expressing our compassion, meaning the passionate action that arises from our heart.
That fills my heart.
It's a delicious, delicious dialectic that we get to play with. And so, beloved ones, as we explore the mysteries every Saturday with you,
what a treat!
We're exploring consciousness, we're exploring the reality of healing, and we're also dancing with the energies of this time, here and now.
Yeah.
The past is just that, past. Yeah. And let us embrace what is before us and what is coming to us, because that is where the joy resides.
And you are that joy, Archangel Zodkiel. If it does not bring you joy, why are you doing it? We'll leave you with that. We are so excited to be with you. Just a shout out again, Soul Mirrors. If you'd like to join us, we will be right back here at TFR Live Tuesday night, 6 p.m. Pacific time, our new time slot and date. Very excited. We have a very special guest, and so please join us.
And tomorrow at noon Pacific time.
Part 2 of this important month info. You want to be there.
You'll see it at Oneness Talk Radio and the official Shri and Kira YouTube channel. Check it out, because there's a lot more to this adventure that we are co-creating together.
And hey, better yet, go to official Shri and Kira over at YouTube today and subscribe. And while you're there, watch those 2 important videos we just posted yesterday. 2020, the 3 things you really do need to know, and the complete explanation of the energy uplevel of the Ascension that's happening right now. And next week, make sure you're a subscriber. We are putting out the long-awaited Ascension symptoms for 2020 and the decade. It's a big year this year.
Beloved ones, thank you for being part of this community of love. We love you, we respect you, and we look forward to being with you again.
Namaste. Namaste.